Welcome to this tutorial where I'll be showing you everything that you need to create a Squarespace website for a nail salon. And this website was created for a sole purpose to get you clients. And I'll also show you how to create your own booking system to start getting those clients booked in. And of course, everything that you need to get started will be in the description, so have a look through there. Right, so before we kick off, we're just going to start off with the branding, as it's good to establish that before you create your website. So this is everything that we're going to be using, the heading there and the paragraph font there, just in case you're not sure. And this is the template that I'm using. I just created it there, just on Figma. So if you want, you can have a look on Figma yourself to take inspiration from it, or modify yourself before we get started. But if not, we can get straight to it. Okay, great. So we're just going to start the website off by creating the website as a blank template. And the reason why we're doing this because we already have the design that I've created in Figma. So I'm just going to be copying that pretty much. So yeah, so here you can just name your website. So I'm using the brand name that I've created for this example. I'm going to use Lunar Nail Salon. And I'm just going to skip all these. So right now, the website is created. We just have to now edit it. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with the basics, changing the heading and the paragraphs. And I'm just going to change them to the fonts that I have, that I've used for the website. So for the heading font, I'm just going to use the Tenor Sans, and then also just change a bit of the font size just to adjust it for the website. And here I'm just changing the paragraph font to the font I'm using, which is Cabin. And I'm just going to adjust the paragraph line height to this as well. And now I'm just adjusting all the buttons so they just have the correct font. And then I'm going to come back to these later as well, just as I can't see currently how they're looking. So once they're on the website, I'll come back to them. And now I'm just going to adjust the miscellaneous tab, just adjust the font to Cabin. And now I'm just going to adjust all the color palettes just to reflect the ones that I've used in the current design. And I'm just copying and pasting the hex code. Of course, you can play around with all the colors. You don't have to stick to this template. It's just the colors and the fonts that I've used. But feel free to come up with your own design. Now, coming back to the buttons, I'm just changing the shape of the buttons just to the rounding corners, just so I don't forget. Okay, now that we're done with the boring stuff for now, we're just going to start off now designing the website. So right now, I usually start from top to bottom and design the desktop version, and then start designing the mobile, since it's pretty much done then. So you can do it, you can follow me, or you can skip around, whatever is best for you. But here I am just creating the navigation. Pretty simple one, as we're only going to need the Instagram logo and the button. And you see the home button there, the home link, we're going to remove that there. But right now we're just styling the button as well, changing the text to reflect the design. And I usually just change the navigation button to the secondary button, as I just find it's easier just styling that one and then leaving the primary button to the home page where I can just change that if needed. And now I was just grabbing a right arrow symbol, which is simple. You can just grab off the internet and just paste it in the field there. And now I'm just going to update the logo. It's fairly straightforward. Just upload your logo there. And yeah, it should appear. And by the way, I'll have everything linked in the description where you can access all the files, Figma folder if you need it, and all the CSS code that we'll be using today. And now just to get rid of the mobile navigation, I'm just going to adjust it here, and we'll come back to that later once we're designing the actual mobile screen. And right here, I was just a bit confused why the book now button was actually just showing up as a salmon color. I know I added the hex code in earlier, but it was by mistake, and I just figured I just had to refresh the page. So if that ever does happen to you, just try refresh it, and yeah, there we go. It just came back. And I just got rid of the home link there, where I just dragged it to not linked, just to get rid of that there. Okay, and now on to the hero section, which is always the one that always takes the most time, but it's well worth it, which is, it's the section that everyone sees first. So you have to impress them and leave a good impression first. So yeah, here I'm just adjusting the padding, just seeing what works best. Yeah, I always come back to that as well to play around with it, see which one works best, and just also just changing the gaps for the section, because it is a bit awkward, but like with the Squarespace Flu section, but it gets the job done, I guess. And now I've just added in some image shape just for the background of the hero section that I'm using, and just adjusting the corners to fit the design. So I just changed the color there, and I'm just going to copy and paste this section with Command C, Command V, pretty straightforward. And just drag that down a bit, and then also just change the color to white on this. Okay, so now I'm just going to adjust the site width, as I like to align it pretty much with the button. So I'm just dragging it to 1440, which, it makes it look aligned pretty much. Okay, so now let's add the text button here. This will be, we'll use this a lot pretty much. And just to save you some time, you can also just Command C, Command V this section. And we're just going to change it to the heading 1. And just to let you know, you can only use one H1 in your website. So when we're going further to the next sections, just use everything but H1, as it just affects your SEO and whatnot. So I've also just copied and pasted the text from the Figma design, which will save me a lot of time in the long run. And then here as well, just adding some reviews. It adds credibility to your website if you have some of these sections on your website. And I always like to remind people, which is why I always put it on a few sections. Just, continues to show that you are trustworthy. And if they ever need another reason why to choose you, there they have it there. And right now I'm just also adjusting the button, but we'll get back to the coloring of these as well. And then also for the stars, just using the 5 stars, I just got the image. I just exported it from Figma and just brought it straight in. So that's how you do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna change the heading font a bit of the size of it, as I noticed it was a bit small. So we're just gonna change this to fit the design. And now I'm just playing around with this section just to get it looking well. And don't be afraid to keep experimenting and seeing what works well. See if the sections, the text if they have enough padding in between. You can only get that when you start doing it. So yeah, just play around with it. So right now I'm just gonna adjust the colors of the buttons. So if you go to edit with the pencil and then click on colors, you can see where to change the button sizes. And right here I kind of forgot how to change the color for the navigation. You'll see in a bit that I wasn't sure exactly why it wasn't working, changing it, but I had to go to the button and press no fill instead of fill on the shape when I click the rounded rectangle. So I'll just cut to that just to show you pretty much. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. You click on rounded rectangles and just click no fill. Sorry, I can't even speak today. Right, let's add in the image now. So I recommend when you're using these images, show off the benefits of your service pretty much. So show off the nails that you have designed, as when people click onto your website, straight away they know, okay, this is what you do, these are what you are capable of doing. And it really gets them kind of excited, like, oh, okay, you can do this, that's perfect. So just another tip for you. And now I'm just adjusting the corner radius of these images just to fit the design again. I know I'm gonna keep saying that the whole video, but it has to be done. Okay, so just add the last image in here, and I'm just gonna change the shape of this to a circle pretty much. And yeah, I've also just added the images, and feel free to add your own images to this, of course, because these are just images I found online, and you want them to be, your own images, as people can then relate to those, not just some stock photos online or anything like that. Don't use those. Sorry, as well, I forgot to mention with the text. So when you're using the text, make sure to use like emotive language, so people when they read your text, they instantly know what you're talking about. It gets them excited, or a certain emotion that you want them to convey. So, and also focus on the benefits of when you're writing the text. Don't just talk about the features. List out the benefits and then the features. Like, for example, a mechanic doesn't sell you on he doesn't sell you on the tools that he uses. He sells you on that he fixes your car pretty much. So you want to think like that when you're writing your text. Okay, sorry for rambling about that, but I thought it would be useful for you. Okay, so now we're just going to adjust the CSS just to add some drop shadow to the images. Very simple stuff. You don't really need to know how to code for this. I'll give you the code as well in the Word doc. So you can just add this, and we're going to be using the tool as well. And don't worry, I'll link it into the description. There's certain elements that you can adjust on their own. So this tool is very helpful, that you find the block and then you just copy that. It's unique to each block, so you have to add that in yourself. But I'll show you here now anyway. It's very simple. So when I'm given the code, you'll just have to replace the insert code, whatever I have, and just add your own block then. Because if I just give you this code here, it won't work. And just like that, we have the drop shadows, and what can I say? It's looking great. I don't know if you can agree or not, but I think it is looking good. Okay, well, not on that tablet view, but in the desktop view, I think it's looking great. I'm just gonna resize the logo because I noticed it was looking a bit too small compared to all the other elements. And like I mentioned earlier, I was gonna come back to the buttons because I knew I'd have to come back anyways. So you see here, I'm adjusting the padding, like the vertical and horizontal padding, and just play around with it anyways and see how you like it. I usually keep the secondary button a bit smaller and then the primary one just a bit chunkier, but you can play around with it anyways. You see here, I'm coming back as I wasn't really happy with how the top and bottom padding was looking. Okay, so we have the hero section done for the desktop view. We're gonna go to the next section now and just design this one. So this one will be pretty straightforward. It's just listing off the benefits. I don't know why I tried copying it, but yeah, you have to copy it and then paste it into that section. But if you try that yourself, I'm just copy and pasting the text from the Figma design and just aligning it central. And now just gonna add some text blocks to this for each section here. Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I'm just copying and pasting all the text. So I'll come back to when all the text is added into this because it's pretty boring. Okay, you didn't really miss much. You just missed a minute of me just adding the text in. But here I'm just adding the images, and I'll also have them in that folder that I'll upload, or you can take them from the Figma design yourself. But yeah, you can see here I'm just duplicating the images and then just replacing them just to fit each section there. Okay, so that's how it's looking now, and now onto the next section here. Yeah, so we're just gonna change the theme color on this section to the light gray that I use, and then also just play around with the padding and the gaps for the grid system. And now I'm just adding the image onto this section. And here I'm just going to add an image of a salon, as I think this will work best with this section. And the section here is pretty much just to show the user pretty much what happens after they book. And I think it's necessary to have this section on your salon page because it basically explains what happens once they book and what to expect pretty much. So I think it is very necessary to have this, and it does help with the conversion rates of your website. And you just saw me just change the corners of the rectangle or the image, and now I'm just going to copy and paste the image or the stars and the reviews pretty much, as it's always good to use some repetition in your website. Don't be afraid of that. And then also it does help improve the credibility a lot more as well when you use, like I mentioned before, when you use reviews. So don't be afraid of this, and I think it does add a little bit extra to your website. The small details actually do help a lot with this. And now I'm just going to add the icons, which will just be the image blocks, and I'm just going to also duplicate these 3 times as I just show the steps, the 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm just trying to figure out how to align the text and the image and whatnot, just to make it look well and make it flow right pretty much. So you'll see me just play around with this, and that's another thing with Squarespace. It can get a bit awkward with the placement of everything, but you can align them. You see how it's aligned to the top. You can try play around with the alignment of it. It helps a lot with the spacing. But you see here, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this align well, but I get it in the end, so that's what matters. And now I just added also the paragraph to this section, and yeah, I'm also just gonna play around it until I can get it looking well. Now look at all this work I had to do just to make it look well and aligned. I sped it up because it would just be boring just looking at this. So yeah, here you go. Yeah, I think we got it looking well in the end. So once this is done, I'm just going to duplicate these sections and then just change the text and the images on this. Pretty straightforward section here. And now I just copied the button from the other section, the home or the hero section, and I noticed I had an outline when I was trying to figure out how to change the secondary buttons, color. So yeah, I had to just change that quickly, and now yeah, it's looking nearly there. I just need to change the text and then add the drop shadow to that image. And just like that, we change the text, not the image. And yeah, I'm just aligning these here, and then yeah, gonna adjust the image now with the CSS. But first, just tidying up the elements, making sure they look proportionate and balanced. And now I'm just taking the Squarespace ID Finder, which is just a lifesaver when you're creating Squarespace websites, and just adding the code in here. And I spent a ridiculous amount of time just figuring out why I couldn't get this drop shadow working. And in the end, it was my own fault because I didn't notice that the color was the same as the background of the section. Well, I finally got it working, so I'm going to just show you how the website's looking so far. Not too bad, I must say. I'd ask you how you think it looks, but I don't think you can reply here. Right, so onto the review section here. So this one is pretty simple. Like, the sections now get easier and easier once we keep going with them. So that's the good news. So don't be stressing or anything. It's Squarespace is meant to be simple to use. That's why I'm using this. So it's as simple as possible for you to learn how to use it, of course, and also create it in a reasonable amount of time. Because believe it or not, website design does take a while, but most people don't really understand that or appreciate it as much. So yeah, you're seeing it firsthand how long it takes to build the design. Like the design is a different section, but or a different beast on its own. But developing as well does take a lot of time. So yeah, so now I'm just changing the button color to the brand's green color, the one I've used for all of them so far. So yeah, I noticed that I didn't change on the light section or on the light section. So just remember as well, just to refresh the page if you don't see the color change, because that always gets me, and then I remember when it's too late. So yeah. And now I'm just going to add the images of the review section. Of course, you can play around and change the design, but for this section, I'm just gonna keep it as this. Like you can just add your own testimonials section that Squarespace provides. That one will be a bit easier to use, but I just wanted to change up the design a bit and make it a bit more unique. What I'm doing now is just adding the images in individually and just aligning them properly, making sure they're the same size and whatnot. And then I'm just gonna copy this, basically what I've done here, and just add a different section with a different set of testimonials. So you see here, I'm just duplicating this. So very simple, very straightforward. So the review section is pretty much done. Right now I'm just checking to see if they're the same size or not. I wasn't sure, but yeah, I have to double check. So I think that's how I was looking. I didn't get it exactly how I wanted with the Figma design, but I think it turned out well enough there. And then you'll see on the mobile that I had to change it up as well a little bit, but I think it turned out well. And of course, I'm just adding a frequently asked questions section here, and this one's very important as well. I wouldn't recommend skipping out on this, but yeah, it is important to have some questions that people normally ask you. It just saves them a bit of time as well. Instead of calling you up or emailing you, they have all the questions there, and it's up to them to read it or not. So you can always refer them back to this section if you need to, which is very helpful to use. So what you'll need for this section is just the accordion block, and yeah, you can just change the text, the titles, and then the description. I didn't add any description, but feel free to take the questions if you aren't sure what to use, or you can look them up online what people normally ask. So yeah, just duplicating the accordion section, and yeah, just change the questions. Pretty straightforward. So this section is pretty much done here. Not much work needs to be done except just changing the background color. And yeah, here we go, we have it now. I will come back to those dividers just because I'm not sure how they look in mobile, but if it needs to be, I'll just change them and we'll leave it as it is. Oh, of course, we can't forget the book now button. Always have this on your sections a lot, because when you think about it like a UX standpoint, you don't want the user to keep having to scroll up to just click the book now button. The book now, I can't even speak. The book now button. So when you have the book now button all over your page, it's just much easier for people to click on it and watch. Yeah, so right now I am creating the schedule, pretty much the booking section, and this is great to have because if people scroll that far into your website, they're of course they're interested in what you have to offer, so you can show them straight away to book an appointment. So we'll get back to this section here because I'll have to show you more in detail how to actually set up the scheduling software. But Squarespace have their own yeah, their own scheduling software, so you can use theirs, and I'll show you how to link theirs up as well. So it is pretty good, I must say. Yeah, so just add the scheduling block into the section here, and we'll come back to this in a bit. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next section now, and this one will just be more for the location to show the address, phone number, email if you need it. And this one, it's always good to have, of course. You can always have it on a different page, like your contact us page, but since we only have one page for this website, we're just gonna leave at the end, near the footer. So I'm just gonna create the horizontal line. You'll see now in a bit how it looks, but yeah, I'm just gonna create a kind of an effect for the image to pop out. So I just added the image there, and then also just change that shape color to white. I'm just going to change the corner radius of these, just to two of them, the top left and the bottom left. So yeah, you see here, I'm just going to be playing around with this just to get it looking how I want. And yeah, this is why I mentioned like how the image is going to be kind of crossed into two sections. So good effect to use. You can use this on other websites yourself, but yeah, I like using it. So now I'm just adding in the text for this section and also the button. Fairly straightforward section here, so I don't need to explain much. It just, as I've done it before in other sections. So just copying and pasting the text, and then yeah, adding the button. And now just playing around with the sizing of each element just to get it looking proportional. I don't know if that's even a word or not, but yeah, looking balanced and of course looking great. And now we're going to just add some CSS code here just to get the drop shadow onto that section. And when you're writing CSS code, it's always good to label it, because you never know when you need to change or if anyone else is going to work on the website. So it's always good etiquette to do that. And yeah, here I'm using that Squarespace ID finder, which, as I mentioned, is very useful and just, helps you get the job done. So yeah, here I'm just changing that. And now we have the drop shadow on that. So that's how it's looking now. And now time to add the footer in. So just click the add footer button there, and we'll just create our own one. I'm just having a look at the templates here, but it's quite simple, the footer that I've created there, so no need for a template. And yeah, just add in the logo, and then the Facebook and Instagram icons, and then just the copyright reserved. Now also to mention that it's designed by me. If you want to add that, you can, but no obligations. You can always just mention that I've designed it somewhere else, but of course no need for that. So the icons themselves are just going to be image blocks as well, and I'm just resizing them just to make them as small as possible. So here's how the icons are looking now, and just changing the color of the footer here now. And yeah, just playing around with the sizing of everything just to see how it looks well, or yeah, how it's gonna look. That's kind of it. You just kind of play around with it until it looks well visually. And here I'm just adding the text, like the copyright, the text pretty much, and yeah, just leaving at the bottom. It's kind of where everyone leaves it. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And now the desktop view is pretty much done. I'll just give you a quick look and how it's looking. Of course, don't mind that. We have to come back to this section, so don't worry about how this section's looking now. I'll give you more in-depth look into this. And yeah, I think it's looking great so far. But of course on mobile, it's a nightmare because we haven't even started on this. But look at this! Wow, I want to be leaving it like this. That's for sure. So yeah, let's get this optimized now. So yeah, let's get to it. So I'm just going to be changing some of the elements here, and then I'm going to start off with the navigation as well, just changing the logo size, and then also I don't like how the navigation is looking, so we're just going to get rid of that. And I'll show you now just through CSS code. So when you're copying your tag or the ID, make sure it's that collection tag because that's where your navigation is linked. So when you're copying and pasting the code in, just make sure to add that. And of course, if you have any other pages, you don't have to do that. But since this is just a one-page website, we're going to get rid of the navigation. So right now I'm just following the Figma design and pretty much just changing to how it looks there. It's quite simple, this section, and yeah, not much to it. We're just moving around the elements just to make them look visually appealing. So if you follow the Figma design, it will be pretty simple to do. So yeah, that's how the home pages or the hero section is looking now. And now we're just gonna adjust some of the images and then just change, just realign everything to make it look how it looked on desktop, but then just optimize for mobile. Okay, so I just sped it up like what I've been doing, just to give you an idea of what I'm actually doing here. So pretty much just, like I mentioned before, just dragging the elements and then just realigning them, just making them optimized. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave this playing for a bit just to show you. So here as well, I was just changing the alignment of the text blocks as you see here because I wasn't sure. I thought that they affected the desktop view, but they actually didn't. So that actually helped out a lot because the mobile view here, it wasn't looking that well, or I couldn't get it looking well unless I changed the alignment from the top to the middle. So you can do that yourself there just to let you know. Right, and now onto the review section. I will talk a bit on this because there's some CSS code that you'll need to know and what I've done here. So you see here the text here is aligned to the left, and if I change it to the center, it will affect it on the desktop view. So I'm adding some CSS code to this now just to change the text pretty much to center. And in regards to the Figma design, I'm going to update it after this just to reflect the current design here because I wasn't happy how it was looking, as I mentioned, with how the desktop was. I wanted to just have a similar layout, but I couldn't make it look well. So I'm just going to keep some of the testimonials just stacked in rows or just in one column, and then just going to remove some of the images, and I'll just show you that through code. We're just going to remove them through code and then put them underneath some of the images so you won't see them at all pretty much. So this is what I meant when I just kept them all in one column, and you see all these images here I'm not going to use, so I'm just going to remove them through CSS. So I've just copied all the ID blocks there and then just added a display none to the images so they've disappeared. And now we're just going to drag them underneath all these images so we can collapse the white section here just to tidy it up pretty much. So I wasn't happy with how this section was looking here, so I had to get rid of the top dividers on the FAQ section, but I think it's looking, it looks the same pretty much either with or without top dividers. So now we're just fixing up the book your appointment now section, and like I mentioned before, we're just gonna have to set up the scheduling software before we touch this section. So we'll get back to this now, but just setting it up beforehand just to have it nearly ready. And now last but not least is just the location section, and I must say Squarespace is pretty good when it has to come to really designing the desktop to mobile view. It doesn't take too much time, so I do have to commend Squarespace on that. It is pretty good, I must say. Actually, I lied. there is one more section. It's the footer section, but look, this is not going to take too long at all. Just resize some images and then you're good to go. Right, let's see how the mobile view is looking so far. And what can I say? You know, job well done. I have to pat myself on the bat. Not the bat, the back. Right, okay, we're gonna set the scheduling software now. And I'll give you a quick run through on this so you can start getting your own appointments through this. Okay, so when you click back onto the home page, just click the scheduling button and it will direct you to this scheduling page. So just set up your name that you want, and then also the link name that you will send to your clients, or you know, to your website and Instagram. So we just clicked it back out of that, and I'm just going to give you a quick run through of this software. It is pretty easy to learn once you start using it. And yeah, I'm just going to go through it section by section. So here we have the calendar. So this is where you're going to see all your appointments, and you can either create or modify, you know, move appointments around if need be. And over here is where you can block off time if you need to, for example, go on holidays or you have a family emergency. This is where you can do it. So I'm just giving you a quick example here, just to demonstrate. So we'll just put on the next day and just change the time. And yeah, if we go to the next page, yeah, you'll see it, just the block time, just to give you an example, just to show you how it works. Okay, so calendar's pretty much true. And this is where your clients list will be, you know, your past and current clients, pretty straightforward. And then we have the invoices as well, when, you know, once you start having clients. And then this is where you'll see all your reports. You know, once you have clients, you'll see everything here. So this is just set up brand new, so you won't really see anything here. You'll see all your forms, your tips. If you want to import or export your reports, you can do that. And this is where you have your link. You can copy or change your link name if you're not happy enough with it. So now onto the appearance. And with the scheduling platform, you don't have much customization unless you pay for it more, like premium plan. So with their current plan, it still works. Like you don't need anything special when you're starting out, but if you have a salon business and want to stand out from the crowd, you can customize it with CSS. So now I just added in the logo, and then also here you can just kind of add some instructions. For example, I'm just going to make sure to arrive 15 minutes before your appointment. You know, it will show up at the top of your scheduler. And right now I'm just going to change the font and then also the color of the buttons. So it's pretty straightforward. Just add in your hex code there. So this is how it's going to be looking now. I just save that. And yeah, on the right hand side you have a little preview. So that's how it's looking now. And now just a few more options that you can adjust and whatnot. And for the options, I'd recommend to click the required phone number, just in case anything happens. It's always good to have their phone number there. And here's what I was talking about, the CSS, that's where you change it. Now onto the availability. Here's where you have your calendar. You can adjust the times and whatnot. So just giving some examples here. I'm just going to leave it as is. And now onto the calendar limits. So here I would just change some of the sections. So I'd leave it as 24 hours in advance. That's when they can book an appointment. It's up to yourself really. It's just, you can have a look through all the sections and see what needs to be changed for you. So just also on this global scheduling limit, one really cool feature they have is you can change the busy schedule, or like you can appear busier than you actually are. So if you click this here, you can have a percentage of like how many appointments will be booked out for. For example, like when you're starting out, it would be good to show like, oh, you have like a lot of bookings or whatnot. So, it's a cool feature if you want to use it or not. So now onto the appointment types. This is where you can add all your services that you have and then add them to a category. So I'll give you some examples and I'll run through them. So if you click on new type of service, here's where you can add your pricing and the service. So I'm just gonna give you a little preview on what you can do. So here I'm just adding a classic manicure. You can adjust the timing and then the price and then also the category you can add. So I didn't add it to this one, but I will cut to when I did actually. So you can see here there's a category section and you can just add the categories that you have. So for example, I'm going to add the manicures, the pedicures, then the nail enhancements, and add what you have basically to offer. So I'm just going to repeat this for the other sections and I'll get back to you once it's done. So I've just added all the sections now. You can have a look there, and then I'm just going to add some add-ons. These are pretty good to add to particular services that you have. For example, I'm just going to add to give you an idea, like to do some nail art, and also I'm going to add to repair your nails, and you can select all the services that you want. I'm just going to add them to all, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward here. And onto the coupon section, I'm just going to give you a quick example on what you can do here. It's it's pretty good if you want to give some discounts to people, or run a promotion. You can do this all here. And also for the certain product that you have, you can either select all or none. I'm just giving an example here. Okay, so back onto the home screen here, we're just going to show you how to add more questions to your forms. So these will be once they're ready to confirm their appointment, and you just have a few questions like their name, their phone number, which will already be there. But if you want to ask some more questions, here's where you can add them. And I'm just giving you a quick example here just to show you once I'm going to try do a checkout. So I'm just, yeah. And now onto the packages section. Here's where you can add some packages if you have any, like maybe some combos. You can add them here so you can change the pricing and whatnot. And yeah, here's where all your services will be, and then you can just apply the ones that want to add a package to. And now onto the integration section. This is where you can add any integrations that you want. Just have a look through them, and if you want to, for example, add the Google Analytics, you can, or your payment systems, they're all there. Just have a look through them and see what you need. And of course, we can't forget about the payment section. Here's where you connect your accounts to get paid, of course. And also, if you want to add any, for example, like a deposit before people book an appointment, this is where you can do it. You can either do pay full or, just a deposit. So this is pretty handy to know. So onto the client email section. Here's where you can adjust. If you have a premium plan, you can change what gets sent out. If you want to give more of a reminder, like an hour or 2 hours before their appointment, this is the perfect place. Maybe like it helps just reduce no shows pretty much. So that's pretty much it. Now we're just going to connect it to the booking system here, and it's pretty straightforward. Since you already have the account, it just connects straight away, and then you can play around with some of the settings, see what type of calendar you want. I'm just going to leave it as it is there, but you can play around with it. And of course, once you have that in place, just adjust the image or the shape just to align it with everything. It's going to look a bit big, this section, but there's not much I can do with this since it's Squarespace's form. I would like if the categories collapse, but it is what it is, I guess. And this is how it's looking on mobile. Yeah, not too bad, I guess. Not much, like I said, not much you can really do with this section, so we're gonna leave it as is. And yeah, so the website's pretty much done. Just a few more tweaks that we have to do in settings, but other than that, the website is pretty much done. Okay, I'm going to do a quick test on how this booking system works. So you just click your service that you want, and then if you want any add-ons, you can click them here. And then you also have the calendar, so you can choose your time of day. And yeah, you can see here the busy schedule system is working. So you can see there's a few times on a few days, and yeah, I think it does work. You can add that if you want, but just to show you there. And then also that question that I had, and then the coupon that I added, they're all working there. I'm just not going to confirm there, but you see it's working, and there you go. Like the website's pretty much done now. I'll just show you a few things that we have to do, not major. Okay, so if you back out and click on the settings, we're gonna update the favicon. So the favicon is the thing that the small icon on the browser, and it's quite important because it improves your brand identity, and a lot of people forget about it. So you'll just see the basic Squarespace block, and it just doesn't look professional. So you definitely want to change that. And then once you're ready, I would get a domain and then also pay for hosting just to get the website up and running. And you can either buy a domain from Squarespace themselves. You can have a look at their pricing and whatnot. If not, you can get somewhere cheaper. So, and then also just connect it from them. So it's pretty straightforward. But if you also want me to show you how to do that, I can. Or you can have a look on YouTube. It's pretty simple to do. And now using the link that we got from the scheduler, I'm just gonna update the links on the book now. So, you don't want to forget about updating all the buttons. And then as well, if you have an Instagram or Facebook, update all the buttons. Okay, so we're pretty much done, but one more thing I noticed when I was hovering over the secondary button, the text was not showing. So I just had to change the color to white, and then, it's fixed now. So I'll also add that code in the Word doc. So there you have it. Here's the full website design. I hope you actually use it or learn from it. Either or, I hope this helped for you. Yeah, like it has the full capabilities for you to get clients and to show off your work. And yeah, it has everything, even to contact you. It's pretty much everything that you need to start off with a nail salon or an existing one. And this is how it's looking on mobile here. Let's give you a quick run through of it. So yeah, not too bad, I must say. And all I really ask if you enjoy this and you've watched it all the way through, that you just leave a like or even a subscribe or comment. Anything is appreciated. And if not, look, it is what it is. I don't mind either way. I just hope that I could help you out with this pretty much. So yeah, that was it. If you want any more help or tutorials, just let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you.